Hey guys, so what is up? RedPandaMining here. How you guys all doing? I hope you're all doing really well and have a really great day. In this video, I want to go through all of my mining rigs in terms of the RAVENCOIN hash rate as well as the power consumption. That's actually the biggest reason why I'm doing this video, because a lot of you guys have been asking, Red Panda, what should I do regarding mining RAVENCOIN? And you know, there's been a lot of things out there. A lot of people are wondering in terms of the power consumption and also the power supplies that you have. Dependent on the max capacity that you want to be safe, and you know, overclocks, undervolts, you know, all those kind of things is what I want to as well look at for my mining rigs, because all of my mining rigs that I have currently, I have different power supplies, right? I have different graphic cards, I got different cabling, maybe I'm using splitters on some of my rigs, and some of them I'm also just using straight to the power supplies, right? I have very many different power supply configurations, and so in this video it's going to be very long. I'm going to go through just all of my mining rigs, mainly the ones that are on the racks right now. The ones on the floors are not complete mining rigs, so I'm not going to be doing these, but I will be starting off with the RX 580 4GB card rig, as I believe a lot of people have these cards for mining and maybe mining for RAVENCOIN as well. All right, so I'm going to talk about all the specs of the rigs first, all right, and the power supply, how I have the cabling, and then we'll go through the hash rate for RAVENCOIN and also see the exact power consumption that the rigs are taking. And I'm going to be using Space Goat's power meter, and I am going to just turn off all the rigs on this meter here so that I can get an exact reading of each of my rigs. All right, so I'm gonna have some downtime on my rigs, but I'm doing this for you guys. In this video, I'm gonna plug into Space Goat's meter one by one. We will go through every rig. RAVENCOIN seems to be, you know, the next coin that everyone's talking about and wanting to mine, but you have to be mindful of what your power supplies and, you know, the TDP of your graphic cards, total power draw, your overclocks, you know, all that kind of stuff really matters. And so hopefully this will help you guys just a little bit. I mean, I don't have all different types of GPUs. I generally do have maybe some of the popular ones, but we're gonna go through in this video. Hopefully you guys will get a general idea of what RAVENCOIN is all about in terms of the power consumption, all right? So actually I'll show you guys the Ethereum hash rate, power consumption, and then RAVENCOIN, and then the power consumption for that. All right guys, so I'm gonna turn off my rigs on that PDU on Space Goat's power meter, and we'll start off with the RX 580 rig, guys. All right, so give me 1 sec. Okay, so I have most of my rigs off on this side. Whatever was on this PDU is now off, all right? And I only have this rig on. So let me quickly talk about what parts I'm using on this RX 580 4GB card rig. I have a 2000 watt Bitcoin mining power supply, a Gigabyte Z270P-3 motherboard, just a standard Intel motherboard with I think a G4400 or a G3930 processor. But mainly powering these GPUs, I have one strand coming from the Bitcoin mining power supply, okay, 2000 watt power supply. And you can see here, I have a single strand going from the power supply into each of the GPUs, okay? I know it looks like I have a splitter or something on here, but it's actually just to extend into the riser, all right? So the GPUs itself, these are the MSI Armor Edition 584 gigas. They only have one 8-pin, all right? One 8-pin, and I have the other one just daisy chaining into a splitter because the length wasn't long enough to go into the riser, all right? So there you go, one 8-pin and one 6-pin for the riser off each strand. Now, I have this rig mining on Ethereum Classic. I just want to show you guys the power consumption for that. So right now we're getting about 700 and, I don't know, 14, 15 watts at the wall, all right, at 230 volt, okay? And this is the hash rate that I am getting on this rig, okay? So each GPU is getting about 29 mega hash, and here are my settings right there, okay? I'm actually using my RAVENCOIN settings, but generally, you guys can see that is the power consumption for Ethereum Classic. Now, let's switch it to RAVENCOIN. Okay, this rig is now mining RAVENCOIN, and I haven't changed any overclocks or undervolts. We are now utilizing 27 watts. All right, I'll show you guys the numbers here. As you guys can see, we're getting about 14.4 mega hash on each of these RX 580 4 gigahertz, okay? And those are the settings that I'm using, okay, on the overclocks and undervolts and stuff. And it says each GPU is taking about 80 watts, but it's realistically not at the wall. And the software shows 491. But at the wall, we are using about 930 watts, okay? So pretty much 200 watts more than what we were getting on mining Ethereum Classic. All right, guys? So there you go. There's a big disparity there from, you know, mining Ethereum Classic and mining RAVENCOIN on this rig specifically, RX 580s, 4 gigabyte cards. Now, video's not over, guys. I'm gonna do a lot more mining rigs here. We're gonna turn this rig off. I'm gonna turn this off, and now we're gonna go on to the next one, and I'll surprise you guys next. All right, I'll see you in 1 sec. Okay, next rig I have is a 6x RTX 3070 rig, and it is being powered by a single 1200 watt Cooler Master ATX power supply. All right, and some of you guys may be wondering, like, Red Panda, that's not enough capacity for 6 3070s, and you guys are right. You guys are right. The TDP of these cards are 220 watts, I believe. So these cards would go over the 1200 watt power rule, right? And definitely over 100%, not 80% capacity. But you guys can see here, this whole rig mining Ethereum at the moment, and Zilliqa, I'm dual mining. I'm doing about 830 watts at the wall. All right, 830 watts for these 6 RTX 3070s. And I'll show you guys the hash rate just to verify with you all. There it is, the 3070s, and that is the power consumption and the hash rate for each of the GPUs, getting about 61 mega hash for each one. And these are the overclocks that I am using. Okay, so now let's go ahead and try RAVENCOIN. All right, we're gonna try RAVENCOIN and see what the difference is. Give me 1 sec. All right, so we're on mining RAVENCOIN right now, and we are using about 852 watts for the whole rig. But there's a caveat. So the RAVENCOIN hash rate that I'm getting right now, it's not optimal in terms of efficiency. I know that I can get 30 mega hash off these 3070s, but we will have to put more power to these cards in order to get that, you know, perfect efficiency, 30 mega hash on RAVENCOIN. So I will have to change this power limit number to, let's say, I think it's 145 or 140 watts. I'll have to play around with it right now, but you guys can see right now the difference between I didn't change any settings. All right, it just went from Ethereum into RAVENCOIN, and we're getting about 20 more watts, using about 20 more watts. Okay, so NVIDIA cards, they seem to be okay in terms of switching over to RAVENCOIN if you stay with the exact overclocks that you have. All right, but if you want to get more RAVENCOIN hash rate, like I just explained, you will have to change the power limit here, okay? It's not like with the AMD cards. These are Polaris cards. They use a lot more power on the core. Since it's mining Kapow algorithm, it uses a lot of core and memory, all right? So the AMD cards just require more power that way. So you guys saw that difference, right? But I'm glad that I have a 2000 watt power supply in order to, you know, have that capacity, right? I don't have that luxury on this 3070 rig, okay? Unless I keep it at these exact same clocks that you guys just saw, all right? So hopefully you guys understand that depending on the rigs that you have to be just mindful of when you're gonna overclock. So what I'm gonna do, since I wanna try to get 30 mega hash off these 3070s, let me quickly change the power clocks a little bit more. Be right back. Okay, we are up at 983 watts, okay, for the 3070 rig. I have upped the power limit for this rig, okay? So now we are at 142 watts PL in HiveOS. I've kept everything else the same, and we are almost at 30 mega hash. So right now, I believe my rig is essentially thermal throttling. And if I just refresh it here, I believe it's, yeah, 28 mega hash, 27, 26, 26. Yeah, I think some of these GPUs are throttling. We're at 28 mega hash on the Asus one. So it looks like a few of my EVGA cards are throttling, I believe. Maybe I need to give these ones a little bit more juice, but anyways, I just wanted to show you guys an example, okay? So we are now at, let's see, if we do 1200 times 0.8, I believe that's 960 in terms of the 80% rule, all right? So it looks like we are over the 80% rule on this 1200 watt power supply, okay? So yeah, 980 watts, so we're about 20 watts over. Be mindful of the 80% rule, how much power you're drawing through the power supply. I know that there are a few power supplies, depending on the brand, the model, platinum, titanium, gold, what have you. There are different efficiency curves, okay? Some of them are not even at 80%. Some of them are at 50%. Like if you want to run your power supply at the perfect efficiency, which, let's be honest, I don't think a lot of people do that. So for me, on this 3070 rig, I am not going to run it at 142 watts. As you guys can see, the whole rig takes about 980. So I'm gonna bring that down if I were to mine this rig on RAVENCOIN in the future, but who knows, right? It all goes back to if RAVENCOIN is gonna go up in price and handle all the hash rate that's gonna go over to RAVENCOIN for all of us miners, right? The savior of GPU mining. Who knows? Who knows? We won't know until that actually happens, as you guys know, once Ethereum goes to proof of stake. So this rig is gonna go back to Ethereum. As you guys saw earlier, we're getting about 830 watts or so. But okay guys, next rig, let's do another one. I'm not sure which one yet. All right, next rig is my 8x5700 rig, which is in a server case, and I believe it has a 2400 watt power supply. So we should theoretically have enough capacity for 8 5700s if they were at, I believe, 240 watts TDP, around there. So these are 5700 MSI mechs. All right, guys, and there is the mega hash number that we are getting right now. Okay, so about 54, 53, 54, and those are the settings that I'm using. Now, at the wall, you guys are wondering, this whole rig, 8x5700s are using about 1180 watts, okay? Almost 1200 watts at the wall, all right? Mining Ethereum, okay? So now I want to switch this rig over to RAVENCOIN and we will see what the difference is. Give me one sec. All right, we're at 1280, 1280 watts. I haven't changed any overclocks. We're using the exact same settings that I was using for my Ethereum. All right, so it looks like we've added another 100 watts at the wall just by moving to my RAVENCOIN flight sheet. So let's see what we got here in terms of hash rate. We're at 20 mega hash per card. Let me just do a refresh and you guys can see we are at 20 mega hash. Yeah, 20 mega hash. Funny thing that I noticed is the memory temperatures went down on these GPUs, but the core temperature has gone up. All right, as Kapow for RAVENCOIN, the algorithm Kapow is very core dependent and memory dependent as well. Just the whole GPU is being utilized, but I guess not as much as Ethereum when it's memory dependent only on Ethash algorithm. Okay, so there are my settings. I haven't changed anything. I believe we can get like 22, 25 mega hash on the 5700s. But you know what, for me, I don't want to go any higher. I think these are probably running hot already. As yeah, RAVENCOIN mining on any GPUs, it's gonna make your rig a lot hotter. All right, so that's another mindful thing that you guys should realize, is that mining RAVENCOIN, it's gonna get hot and it's gonna just make your ambient temperature, wherever you guys are mining, it's gonna be a lot hotter. So for me, if I were to do RAVENCOIN on all of my rigs, oh man, it would be a lot hotter than it is. Yeah, well, what's the temperature right now? Actually, it's about 94 Fahrenheit in here. So yeah, I have a feeling the temperature would go up to 100 Fahrenheit if I moved all my rigs to RAVENCOIN, because yeah, it would be that hot. Alright guys, so that is my 8x 5700 rig in a Minebox 8 server case. Okay, so let's do the next rig. I'm gonna choose one over there. Alright, be right back. Alright guys, next rig I'm gonna be testing is a 6x RTX 3080 rig. And these are the EVGA For the Win 3 edition cards, coupled with two 1300 watt Seasonic power supplies. Alright, these are ATX PSUs, and so I have three RTX 3080s into each 1300 watt PSU, and so that should be technically enough power capacity if I were to run these at full bore, which obviously I don't run, okay? Maybe if you're running these in Windows, and sometimes MSI Afterburner likes to go back to stock clocks for some ungodly reason. I've had that back in the past when I used Windows a lot. And man, that's not a fun time, especially if you don't have the right power supplies for your rigs. That is actually why I moved to using HiveOS or any Linux mining operating system on my rigs, because MSI Afterburner sometimes just goes to stock. Alright guys, anyways, let's see what the Ethereum hash rate is and also the power consumption, and then we'll move over to RAVENCOIN. So right now we are using about 1579 watts at the wall. Okay, I'm just gonna say like 1600 watts, all right? And the hash rate, just to show you guys, these are the cards, okay? And here's the hash rate. We're almost getting 100 mega hash per card. I do have one bad silicon lottery one only getting me 96 mega hash, but these are my settings. All right, let me move everything now to RAVENCOIN and let's see what happens. All right, we're mining RAVENCOIN. We're getting 1,630 watts at the wall, and just showing you guys the hash rate here. I believe I'm gonna have to add more power because some of the GPUs we're getting 37, 36, 39, almost 42, 37 mega hash mining RAVENCOIN. I believe the most efficient number, I believe, is 43 or 45 mega hash on a 3080. All right, these are non-LHR cards. So let me change the power limit and see what happens. Give me one sec. Okay, so I upped the power limit up to 235 watts each in HiveOS here. Okay, you guys can see. Now we are getting, I believe, 45 mega hash on one, but the rest of them are only getting about 40 to 41 mega hash. I see 39 here. So I believe we are having some thermal throttle issues with this rig, with these EVGA For the Win 3s, and the power consumption has definitely gone up. Okay, now we are at 1,695 watts at the wall. All right, so we're using more power, and I did feel the GPUs, they're very, very hot. All right, very, very hot. So I have a feeling that they are thermal throttling, and so they are not using the max power that they can. Okay, so just looking, let's just refresh here. Yeah, look at that. 40 mega hash, 41, 45. That's nice. Yeah, anyways guys, yeah, that's what the power consumption is on this 3080 rig. So that's quite a bit, to be honest. 1700 watts, that's a lot. That's a lot. Anyways guys, let's do the next rig. Let me know your thoughts on the EVGA For the Win 3 3080 rig. Okay, let me figure out the next rig. This rig, I was so afraid to turn off or just even move the power cables. All right, just to show you guys, I switched from this PDU over to this PDU, all right, which is in the power meter. Just to give you guys the specs, this 6x Radeon VII rig has two 1200 watt power supplies, and I'm using an ASRock H110 Pro BTC Plus motherboard. Okay, let's see what the hash rate is currently for mining Ethereum and also the power consumption. Okay, so let's go over here. And so you can see right now my Radeon 7s, and the hash rate that I'm getting currently is about 85 to 86 mega hash. I know there's the C mode, I just haven't gotten around to getting it back because I updated the rig and I lost all my settings, so I have to redo that again. But anyways, this is about RAVENCOIN later. You guys can see my power consumption and the settings that I'm using currently. And at the wall, okay, for mining Ethereum, we are getting about 1480 watts, okay? 1,485 watts at the wall, which I believe is, it's pretty decent. And once I do 100 mega hash on each GPU, it should take the same. Let me try now moving the rig to RAVENCOIN and let's see how much power it takes. Oh, I'm really afraid of moving that rig to RAVENCOIN. I hope it doesn't break. If it does, I'm blaming you all. Be right back. Holy crap, Radeon 7s are monsters on RAVENCOIN. I guess the HBM2 memory is really good, but also the core as well. Look at that, it's about 41 to 40 mega hash each card. Okay, there's one thing I did change. The power limit, I did 180 watts. Okay, and so at the wall, we are taking 1,557 watts at the wall. Oh, that is actually, I think, more efficient than my, I'm gonna say more than my RTX 3080 rig, right? You guys remember that? Maybe I can do a comparison on the screen here. And maybe more than my 3070 Ti rig, the LHR cards. Yeah. But alright guys, that's it. That's it for the Radeon 7s. So if I guess I have the power capacity on those cards because I have two 1200 watt PSUs. I'm doing 3 Radeon 7s on each 1200 watt power supply. Okay, so definitely, hopefully enough power capacity. If each of these went to like 400 watts or something, then yeah, that would equal 3 of them times 400, that would equal 1200 watts. So anyways guys, that's it for the Radeon 7 rig. It should be good for mining RAVENCOIN, no problem. Really strong cards. Man, I love the Radeon 7s. Okay guys, we're not done yet. We gotta do one more rig. I'm gonna do the 12 by 1660 Super / TI rig. Give me one sec. Okay, the 1660 Ti, 1660 Super rig, mining Ethereum at the moment. We're getting about exactly 996 watts, maybe 1,000 watts at the wall. All right, here's the hash rates right here. Okay, you guys can see the GPUs. There's 12 in this Minebox 8, or sorry, Minebox 12, and it has a 2400 watt power supply. All right, 2400 watts, and we're using about 1,000 watts at the moment. Okay, so look at all the 30 mega hash, sometimes 31 that we can get on the Supers and TIs. Okay, there are my power clock settings, there's my power consumptions and all that good stuff. Okay guys, so there you go, 1,000 watts for that whole Minebox 12. Now let's try RAVENCOIN, and I'm not going to change any settings. Be right back. Alright, we switched to RAVENCOIN. I didn't change any overclocks or anything. This whole rig is now using 903 watts at the wall, and here are the numbers for you guys. Alright, so every card roughly we're getting between 8 and 9 mega hash on RAVENCOIN, and I haven't changed anything here. So I believe this is not the suboptimal like clocks, overclocks, undervolts for these 1660 Ti's and Supers. I definitely have a lot of capacity left. So if we're using 900 watts roughly on a 2400 watt power supply with 12 1660 Supers and TIs, I can probably go up to like maybe, let's say 1800 watts, whatever the, you know, 80% rule or whatever the efficiency curve is on this power supply. I can definitely go a lot higher than what we are using right now. So I'm gonna give this rig a bit more power. Give me a sec. Okay, so now we're using 1400 watts, okay, at the wall for the whole rig. And these are the clocks and hash rates that I'm getting on these cards, all right? Almost 13 to 14 to 15 mega hash on 1660 Ti's and Supers. You guys can see the numbers there. And so I bumped the power limit up to 100. All right, also I had an issue with the, I was using absolute core clock. So I was using 1050 before, and it was essentially locking it, and so it was stuck at like, you know, 70 watts or something. And so I changed it to just 100 for all the core. I kept the same memory. I can change that lower or higher, probably lower. And then also, yeah, the power limit is now 100 on each card. And now we are getting this much hash rate on these little guys. My God, that's actually really efficient, to be honest. If we were to compare it to maybe like RX 580s, You guys know this rig, I was able to get 14, almost 15 mega hash on each 584 gigger, but the rig was using a little bit more power, so you can do the comparison there. But yeah, I have 12 of them in this Minebox 12, and it's actually getting pretty toasty. It's getting pretty hot. Let me just refresh and see what the temperature is, as I don't think, oh, 69, 71. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna stop that rig right now. That is way too 73, 74. Okay. Yeah, I don't want that. I definitely don't want that. We're gonna stop the miner. Guys, yeah, so there you go. There's a big issue with running RAVENCOIN, especially if you don't have good cooling in your, wherever you're mining. Mining RAVENCOIN, especially when you up the power limit, is gonna increase the temperatures on the GPUs quite a bit, guys. And that actually goes with all of my mining rigs here. I mean, for you guys as well, I bet, is that when you up the power limit and you know, do all your overclocks, you have to be mindful, because as you go higher in power limit, it's gonna use more watts, more power, and it's gonna generate more heat. Okay, definitely generate more heat. So, man, I don't think right now for me it's summertime, and I guess for most of you guys as well, summertime. So mining RAVENCOIN during the summer, it might not be the best idea, because depending where you live, how your cooling is, how close your cards are, there's many factors, right? There's many factors that come into play when you want to mine RAVENCOIN. It's not just the power supplies, okay, the capacity, how you do your cables, you know, it's just airflow, cooling, what have you, if you can even handle the heat of where you're mining. That's definitely another big variable. Okay guys, so I guess to conclude, all of the cards, all the mining rigs that we tested, I guess I found out that on the Polaris cards, if you kept everything the same, it's gonna use more power, as you guys saw. But mainly for the NVIDIA cards, the power didn't change that much, like the power consumption, when you stuck with the same overclocks, same power limits in HiveOS, okay? Maybe it went up another 30 or 50 watts, as you guys saw with the 3070 rig, right? And also with my 3080 rig as well, we moved over to RAVENCOIN, and it was generally, it was almost the same, it just garnered a little bit more watts, I'd say 30 or 50 watts in total extra, okay? But the AMD rigs definitely surprised me, especially the Polaris ones. These guys use a little bit more than versus mining like Ethereum or Ethereum Classic on this rig, right? You guys saw the difference there. It garnered like 200 watts more. And then my 5700 rig, the 8x5700, just to conclude, is that it used another 100 watts at the same power limits, same overclocks anyway, right? So I guess for people that want to mine in the summertime or mine RAVENCOIN, dependent on your ambient temperature for your whole place, it's gonna depend on your overclocks. Okay, so just to conclude, I mean, for people that want to do this for mining RAVENCOIN in the future, just be mindful of your overclocks. Make sure the power consumption isn't over your means in terms of the power capacity that you have on your power supplies, okay? Your ATX PSUs, your server PSUs, breakout boards. Make sure, in my opinion, I would have, depending on the GPU, like the bigger GPUs, I have 2 strands going from the power supply into each GPU, not one, okay? Like my RTX 3080s, I have 2 strands. My 3090, I have 3 strands, okay? But maybe like my 5700 MSI mechs only have 1 8-pin, so that's only 1 strand coming from the power supply, right? So yeah, just be mindful of those kind of things. You know, my 1060 rig here, I only have 1 PCIe, so 1 strand per graphic card. And you just have to be mindful how much power you're gonna be drawing, right? And you guys just saw with my 1660 Super TI rig, we did 100 watts for each card. It was getting pretty great numbers, almost 15 mega hash on RAVENCOIN, but you guys saw the temperatures, it was not good. So I'm gonna have to go back to like 70 watts, right? Back down to 8 or 9 mega hash because I can't handle the temperatures in my crypto mining basement, okay? So yeah, temperature plays a huge role when you wanna mine RAVENCOIN as well. It's not just your power consumption, power cabling, yeah, actually everything. It's a lot of variables when you guys want to mine RAVENCOIN, because RAVENCOIN utilizes basically the full GPU, a lot of core, memory as well, It's just everything. So it makes the GPUs a lot hotter and use a lot more power overall, especially if you want to get that efficiency number on your GPUs, right? So you have to use a little bit more power versus mining with Ethereum. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts of everything that I just did. Let me know your guys' overclock numbers, power consumption, whatever, everything down below, as hopefully a lot of people will see and read the comments, and hopefully you guys will help other people as well. I hope this video helped at least one of you just understand the power consumption that RAVENCOIN can use when you are mining RAVENCOIN. Alright guys, so thanks for watching guys, have a good one, and peace out.